Umar Johnson has emotionally drained the black community with holding us hostage with this idea that he's going to open up a school. This scam has been going on for too long. We've been manipulated by him because if we weren't, how could he get money out of black people? How could he possibly run this scam for as long as he has throughout all these years? It's going on damn near close to 20 years that Umar Johnson has ran this long con against black people. Black people that have been vulnerable, particularly black women that are vulnerable to the idea that their sons can have a male figure in their life that can mentor them, educate them, and get them on the right track. Umar Johnson can't do these things at all because Umar Johnson is innate at even taking care of his own family affairs. We've heard throughout social media and through the news how his daughter has had some emotional meltdowns, or what we call crash outs, that she, I believe, recently was beat up, hurt by someone, and has been reported as homeless, struggling emotionally. You see, Umar Johnson's daughter is struggling because she's crying out for help. And when kids in particular are stressed in this manner emotionally, they'll do things to cry out for help. Now, you got those of you out there that would say she's a grown woman. Why is Umar Johnson responsible for his grown daughter and her problems? Clearly, if you make these kind of statements, then you're clearly not a parent yourself. So
wasn't there for my daughter. And she may expose me on one of these podcasts one day and say, Daddy, you're the reason I can't find good black love.
Someone would make this statement like that, that's not a parent. Just because your kids are 23 years old, 34 years old, does not stop you from being a parent and being responsible when your child is going through crisis and they're clearly crying out for help by using social media as a way to soothe their stress, to make them feel good about themselves when they really don't feel good. That's what Umar Johnson's daughter's been doing. He can't even take care of his own daughter. He can't even use his own background in psychology. Umar likes to brag about how he has all these degrees, but he can't even do anything to help his own child. What does that tell you about Umar Johnson's lack of professionalism? And that tells you clearly that he can't take care of black boys. He can't save black boys. And he's been running this con around this issue of this school for God knows how long, since the very beginning. I'm going to repeat this again. People think that Umar Johnson has been collecting money since 2010, maybe. No, it's been 2005. 2005, he's been running this scam. It's not working. And it's catching up. It's catching up. You can't trust anything that Umar Johnson says out of his mouth, anything that he projects. Now, when he's called out, when he's exposed, Umar Johnson runs to the typical situation where he now has to blame other people for his shortcomings. So in the case of Mrs. Stacks' Honor, who has clearly called him out in all his BS, Umar Johnson has to make himself out to be the victim always. And even when it comes to his own daughter, the reason why he really doesn't like the fact that his daughter has crashed out or his daughter has called him out as a failed father, as a man who was not in her life consistently, that he didn't deserve a happy Father's Day, she said. Umar is upset with his daughter and he calls her out as he screams on his videos saying, I made you, you didn't make me. Yeah, you might have made your daughter, but you haven't done shit for your daughter, Umar. You see, Umar doesn't like this because, once again, it puts the onus on him and the responsibility on him that he does not want. It makes Umar look bad. It hurts his public image, his social media image. That's the true reason why Umar Johnson doesn't like the fact that his daughter has been calling him out, because he doesn't like the fact that it's hurting the image that he has created for himself, that he wants you to believe that he's this outstanding, upright black man who's fighting a good cause for black people. Umar Johnson, I'm going to say this once more again, is a habitual liar, a habitual con man. The FDMG school is not going to open because Umar Johnson doesn't have a team. Do you see a team of men and women around Umar Johnson building that school? Do you see sheetrock going up? Do you see hard hats? Men, women out there working on flooring, working on roofing, putting in chairs, smoothing out the interior, and exterior of the school? Do you see a crew of construction crew up there doing anything to prepare the property for a proper school? You're not. You're not seeing any of these things because Umar Johnson is a habitual liar. I ask black people, you see, this is a real school. What you're about to see right here is a school that my daughter went to when she was in elementary school. This is what Umar Johnson doesn't have. This is a school. This is a school, y'all. This is a real school, real faculty, real students. Umar Johnson's been lying about opening up a school, and here we got a real campus where my daughter used to go to school. Okay? Elementary school, you know? And it's a real elementary school. Now, she since has finished high school now, but this is a real school, a real campus. He says he wants to teach black boys and black boys in particular. Right? And then he's saying he's going to have a girls section of the school. But Umar Johnson has buildings in Wilmington, Delaware that are abandos. He's had them for all those years. And here you have a real school that has behind me, with real faculty, real people, teachers, a budget, a yearly budget, security, a janitorial services. How is Umar going to pay for all of that? So-called collecting money and begging and dry begging black people over and over again. This is a real school. Let me show you another. How long do we continue to take on this scam artist and continue? Because he's been in our lexicon for 16 to 20 years and we haven't seen anything productive. Matter of fact, when you listen to Umar Johnson talk on his social media, do you really learn anything from Umar Johnson? He's supposed to be this great psychologist. He brags and says he has over 6 degrees. What are we learning from Umar Johnson when he's talking about a black women who have come out and exposed him for his sexual kinks? When he's talking about black women in a nasty way that are calling him out. What can we truly learn from this man that shows us that he is not a responsible individual? He is not an honorable individual that we should put on any type of pedestal. Now Umar Johnson has told us that he has gone broke because someone breached his account, that him and his mother need money, and he needs you to continue to donate money to him until he'll hear back from the banks.
I left for South Africa back on July 10th, only to discover that I could not log into my account.
So then I called the bank to find out what was going on. And the bank told me to enter my 16-digit card number. I did that. They told me they had no record of my account. They had no record of my account. The bank that I've been with since I was a teenager told me they had no record of my account. So then I called the bank. And the bank told me that my personal account, as well as the independent Frederick Douglass Marcus Garvey Academy account, have both been frozen. Both bank accounts have been frozen. Both bank accounts have been frozen. And I was told that there is an investigation into my personal account as well as the school account. I asked them, was this due to suspicion of any fraud on my part? I was told that it was not due to suspicion of any fraud on my part, but I was told that it was due to suspicion of fraudulent activity. I was told that someone has been trying to gain access to my personal account and the FDMG account.
That his account has been made good. He told you that his account was frozen, canceled. Then he turned around and said when he called the bank, I guess animated system, I'm going to repeat this again, that he called the bank and they told him originally that they didn't know who he was. That's the first lie that Umar Johnson told in this saga. They would have a record of who you are by just asking you for basic information like your name, social security number, maybe even your mother's maiden name. They would know who you are. But then he turned around and said he called the bank again, meaning maybe he got a physical person on the phone. I don't know. He lies so much. And then that time around, they told him, oh, by the way, both of your accounts have been frozen, canceled, frozen. And then Umar went out of his way to repeat to us that he asked the bank, was it any fraudulent behavior on his part? My question again is, who asks a question like that? If you clearly know that you haven't done anything wrong and that your accounts were breached because they told you, what would be the benefit to now turning around and telling people or telling us, or if it's just about more manipulation by Umar Johnson, telling us that they said that the accounts were breached, but now he wants to put in our mind mentally that it isn't because of him. I'm here to tell you that let's say Umar Johnson's accounts were breached in some way, form, or fashion. I think it has more to do with what Umar Johnson's been doing than anything. What are the reasons that a bank would freeze your account? And I'm going to go over some things about that, because normally when there is illegal activity going on your account, maybe you're commingling money from 501c3, meaning donations, being commingled with your personal account, because Umar said it was his personal account that they had to shut down, as well as the FDMG money that black people have given him for over 16, damn near 16 years now, almost close to 20 years now, and there still is no FDMG academy, school, anything that he's been promising while black people give him money. And the thing about Umar that I find interesting is that he even disrespects and berates black people who actually have given him money, who have been loyal to him, and he has berated them. You've even had cases where people wanted their money back because they knew that Umar was scamming, and Umar will block them, not return their messages. When you ask Umar, when is the school going to open, Umar will tell you that you're a coon, that you are an agent, provocateur, because you ask a fundamental question. Another
Look, where the money at? Cooning ass black folks.
Have to ask, since Umar claims that his accounts were breached, is why didn't Umar show us any proof? He also claimed in that video that he received a letter or something, because normally when your accounts are breached, you will receive an alert on your cell phone. Now, let me name someone that you all probably are very well familiar with, and that is the Elder. The Elder has a YouTube channel. He's from New Orleans, and he tells it like it is. He speaks it like it is. Behind the scenes, I have been assisting the Elder with various things that have to do with YouTube, various technical things. The Elder called me up just the other day and told me that he was alerted by his bank that his debit card had been breached by someone. You know what they did to the Elder? They stopped the account so that the person that was breaching it couldn't pull out any more money. They still allowed the Elder to get money that belonged to him in the account, because they were able to identify within a matter of small amounts of time that the Elder was the real owner of the money in his bank account and the debit card. So what do? They basically cancel out the debit card. They will issue the Elder a new debit card within maybe 5 business days, but they will still allow him to get access. Matter of fact, the Elder told me that they even put the money back in that was breached and stolen. This is his debit card. Umar Johnson tells you and me that the bank told him indefinitely that they don't know when he would get the money back. That it's an indefinite situation. How do we know that Umar is being honest and not once again telling us another lie? I believe he's not being honest, because the Elder went through a situation with his bank and his accounts, it being breached, or a debit account being breached, and I've gone through that, and they were able to fix his situation within a matter of small amount of time. He didn't have to wait 2 weeks or a month. The Elder was able to get money back and get the situation once they were able to evaluate the situation. Umar Johnson, again, is a habitual liar. He is manipulative. He is cunning. One of the reasons why I believe he gets away with the things that he does within the black community, within the social media black community, is that Umar Johnson has got great gift of gab. He is no different than a preacher on Sunday. We have lots of preachers in the black community that have ran hustles on us. You have black preachers who, what do? They're good orator speakers, and then you find out that they're messing around with many of the women in the congregation. Umar is just like that. He's got a great oratorial skills, which I think resonate with women. Women have always been captivated by men that exemplified leadership, men that were well-spoken, men that appeared to be strong, men that appear to be alpha, as Umar tries to appear to be, because he's like a wolf in sheep clothing, and women have gravitated towards that. Black people have gravitated towards the preacher cadence, which is why when you hear Umar speaking, you will often hear him repeating words over and over again ad nauseum. Okay? And we have been so used to this that we psychologically, I believe, we still want to believe in someone because Umar Johnson says all the right things. He talks about racism, he talks about white supremacy, he talks about things that resonate with black people due to our historical history in this country we call America. Then he connects it to Pan-Africanism, because there are certainly black people in America who want to reconnect with Africa, the continent, made up of many different countries. So we are a people that have forever been trying to find our identity and who we are. And Umar plays on those emotions. And therefore, people give him money, particularly black women who are his biggest victims in this charade that he's been running. Once again, Umar Johnson is a detriment to the community. He is a complete detriment, and he's been running this scam for years. Excuse me. We've got to wake up and stop buying into Umar Johnson and start recognizing that the best thing we could do for Umar Johnson is to stop giving him money. Now, when it comes to his mother, who he told you on that video, if y'all could give me some money until my account is cleared because the bank hasn't given me indefinite period when I'll have my money back. See, he uses that because he uses that to hold you in a bind because he knows he needs to get as much money out of you. So he's going to tell you he doesn't know when the bank can give him money back. While telling you that, he plays on your emotions by saying his mother, because he knows that his biggest followers are women, and that the women would relate to a son trying to needing help for his mother, because many of the women themselves are mothers and they can understand when it comes to struggle. Because his main targets are women, black women that are single mothers who have sons. And I believe that Umar, like a vagabond preacher, uses the idea that he can help single black mothers' sons as a doorway to get into their pants, to get into their panties. Use that as a way to get to the woman. I think he really is pandering to black women who are single mothers, mainly because he wants to get into their pants. I think Miss Mary is her name. She made a film with Umar Johnson called The Awakening. Umar wanted a documentary about himself. She said, let's make a movie because it's a lot easier. Umar refused to sign the contract for the movie. The black woman, I think Miss Mary is her name. She was on Honor's show, interviewed. So you can find an interview where she exposes Umar. And she said,
yeah, I'm gonna get sloppy now. I don't give a damn. He got the nerve to make relationship video. First of all, sir, you've never been married. First of all, sir, you have children by multiple women. Second of all, when he was here, I had a problem with him. Every night, this nigga was trying to lure
the experience with filming the movie with Umar, that Umar knew his lines. He got there on time, did his job, but he would not sign the contract that she wanted him to sign. Like everyone else that had an agreement to be in the movie that she was producing and put her name on the line for her. And she found out that Umar, the whole time, he was trying to have sex with every female in the cast. And she said, to be fair, a lot of these women were going to Umar's room, hotel room, after filming, the day was over for filming a part of the movie, that they were going to his room, maybe having sex with him. And then later on, a lot of them regretted it. And then they start complaining to Miss Mary, who was the producer, the filmmaker, because apparently he was messing around with women. And these women were getting angry because they realized that Umar was just using them. This is what he does to black women. So he is not a man of any character. He's not a man that you should follow in any kind of footsteps whatsoever. He is not a man that should be around black boys, as he has called for the deletion of black boys. He had a video out there where Umar talked about how he wanted to delete black boys.
Who got the thug energy, anger. Thug energy is normally anger and pain. That's all it is. I know, because I do therapy with them thugs. And once they see I ain't scared of them, then we can have a conversation. And fellas, I want to be clear now. When we go back to take over the community, because we're going to have to do it, gentlemen, you can't expect the cops to fix this, because they started it. But I want to be clear. I know some of us love our children, but some of our children are so far gone that we're going to have to put some of them to sleep in order to take back the neighborhood. Some of y'all don't want to hear that because you don't live in reality. But I'm telling you, as a psychologist, I'm not going to be able to psychologize all of them on the corner. Some of them going to sleep. For God!
To be clear, when Umar Johnson states some of them going to sleep for good, he is stating that these black boy thugs need to be murdered.
But I'm telling you, as a psychologist, I'm not going to be able to psychologize all of them on the corner. Some of them going to sleep. For God! For God!
So in 2013, when a school was supposed to open in 2010, I think it was 2010 or 13, he put out a statement saying that the Marcus Garvey Academy will open in 2010, or I think 2010 or 13, either one, and that it will be a private school and you will pay for it. He also talked about how he will specialize in dealing with behavior problems with black boys and what have you. But Umar Johnson has behavior problems. Umar Johnson is emotionally unstable. Here you have, and then it makes you wonder why he can't do anything for his own daughter, because he as a man is emotionally unstable. That's not making excuses for him, but he is not a man. Remember how this whole thing started. His daughter, 23-year-old daughter, was asking to talk to Umar because she found out, because this fool did not tell her that she had a sister. A sister, by the way, which is a child that Umar cannot see or visit without supervised visitation, and the only time you get that is because the legal system has evaluated that you may have done something to that child of an abusive nature, allegedly. Umar gets on podcasts, and these podcasters out there should stop having Umar on their show, because Umar gets on podcasts, tells black men what they should be doing, tells black women what they should be doing, constantly focused on the whole issues around snow bunnies, white women, or women of other races. I think truly that Umar is the one that wants a snow bunny. I think Umar is so focused on what other black men are doing in their personal life. I think it's because it's what he wants. The man is sick. I think personally that there's something psychopathic about him, because psychopaths are usually people who are very intelligent, what makes them, they're intelligent, but what makes them dangerous is because they can blend in with any type of people. They have the ability with their lip service, their gift of gab, to manipulate you with words and what have you. That's really what he's been doing. Now, Mrs. Mary, who was the film producer, director of the movie Awaken with Umar Johnson, said on Honor's program that she believes that Umar Johnson is I call it a economic arsonist to the black community. She said, no, he's an economic R. I don't want to use the word because YouTube is funny style about us using that word, but you know the word R, meaning doing harm to the black community economically by R-ing us. This is what Umar Johnson's been doing, everybody. And now this is where we are, where this man has collected all this money over the years. Now he's telling you that he's broke. You mean to tell me he wasn't responsible enough to put some money away, save some money? This is what I have to say in a nutshell about Umar Johnson. He needs to get a fucking job. Why the fuck are black people in America and black people throughout the diaspora of the world, why are we responsible to give this Negro money when he has burned many of us? Now, I gotta be honest with y'all. At one point in time, I was down with Umar Johnson. I used to donate to what the man was doing, until I learned the hard way that he was a scammer, just taking money, taking resources. That's all he does. And as a result of that, I had to wake up like many people and realize that no FDMG school is going to ever be built. There are people out there who have programs like George Makem. He's got the Urban Nerds Worldwide. You got Q Butter, that's my man. Q Butter in Georgia, my man. Q Butter has the Ziax program in, I hope I'm saying it correctly, but he has a school program in the Brooklyn area of New York. And these guys are not, and this is crazy, these guys are not on social media begging black people for money every day. And they both have legitimate 501(c) nonprofit status would mean when you donate to them, you get a legitimate tax write-off. Umar has lied about how much money he's collected. He'll tell you, I think when he was on Lord Jamal's program, he claimed, Lord Jamal said, hey, you collected, what was it, did you pay $400,000 for those buildings? Umar said, no, it was a little bit more than that. But then we got Umar at sometimes saying that, sometimes telling us that he didn't have that much money. There's videos where Umar is saying, can y'all give me another meal, another meal? He's always lying and moving the goalposts about how much money he collected, and the reason why he does this is because he does not want you putting demands on him. He does not want you holding him accountable for his fuckery. This is really what this is all about when it comes to Umar Johnson and you can't call them schools because there's nothing going on up there. You see Umar Johnson, he goes to Africa when his daughter is reported to be suicidal, damn near getting ready to take her life, in an emotional stressor. And Umar Johnson, as a so-called psychologist, supposed to be number one according to him, he gets his funky behind on a plane and flies around the world, Africa twice, Europe. And it was more important for him to go across seas because of his narcissistic ego that he has than to see about his daughter who was reported as suicidal and tried to take her life. While he's on video saying, I heard my daughter try to take her life, and he's claiming that he's trying to bless her. Dude, what a father does is that a father goes to his child. Umar didn't do that. Umar is not a man. A man goes to his child when his child is in need. A man goes to his child when his child is struggling. A man recognizes the importance of family. Umar, most people who are psychopaths have no empathy, no sympathy for others. And it's no different from a man who has these traits. When they have kids, they can still not give a damn about the kids because Umar is only concerned about himself and concerned about trying to get in the pants of as many black women as he possibly can. Ask yourself, again, I've said this on my first channel, The Information Man Show. Make sure you check out that channel. Umar has no house to go to of his own. He lives with his mother from time to time because it's her place. His mother's on disability. His mother has Section 8. Umar is mad because Miss Stacks has called him out for his hypocrisy because she aired out his sexual kinks. Even though he said, oh, her private areas didn't smell good, I would never touch her, but you touched her several times. You spent several times in a hotel room with the woman. Umar is an arson to the black community. Umar, I'm telling you, could be doing some shady stuff with money. And that's why he could have had his accounts frozen, breached, whatever you want to call it. I want you to hear this right now because I'm going to break down exactly what banks do when your account is breached in any way, shape, or fashion. I also want to remind you, everybody, that the school, those buildings in Delaware, Wilmington that he purchased, that he lies about how much money he spent. You know that they're in a Browning community, a community where there's an environmental impact report that says that there's maybe something wrong with the soil, water. There's a lot of environmental issues with where those buildings are. So he brought buildings in an area that had an environmental problem that he wants to bring your kids to if he ever had a school. Another thing, that he purchased those buildings in an area that's close to a state prison. So you got a prison area. 2, I think Delaware currently right now, or in 2023, they were ranked number 9 in the nation, I believe number 9, when it came to, the violence and the drugs and all those sort of problems in the community. Even years ago, they were in the 4th or 6th ranking years back of being one of the worst environments when he purchased it in terms of drugs, crime, and what have you. Umar Johnson is derelict in picking a place like that he expects you to send kids to. Another thing to remind you is that Umar Johnson had said that the schools would not be accredited. So why would you want to send your kids to a school that's not accredited? Those buildings will never pass inspection. The electricity is not working fully in that building. Plumbing is not working fully. How would he pass a safety inspection? What city would give him a certificate of occupancy or certificate to be able to enter the building with kids? There is none. Where is his faculty? Where is the cafeteria staff? Where is the security staff? Where is the maintenance staff? How is Umar Johnson going to pay the teachers? Are they working for free? How is Umar Johnson going to pay a on-staff nurse? You got to have a nurse there. How is he going to pay for all the other expenses and the taxes and all the other expenses to keep the power running in the school, which doesn't have much power now, with donations only? There's no way you can build a school like this long term. Okay? We know that Umar Johnson loves talking about celebrities. He's burned his bridges there with getting money from them. But then when you see him with celebrities like Dave Chappelle, he's hugged up with Dave Chappelle like, wow, this is my long lost brother. See, he's a hypocrite. It's all an act. Miss Stacks, the woman that had a relationship with him, maybe sexual, I don't know. Well, yeah, sexual, but she said she was involved with him for a little time. She said that everything that you see about Umar when he gets on his Instagram, his social media, it's all an act, that he's different behind the scenes. I want y'all to listen to the breakdown that I have here for you that shows you why Umar Johnson is a habitual liar about his situation with his banking. I believe he's a liar. It's all cap. Even if it's true that it did get breached, I think Umar has more to do with it getting breached than anybody on the outside. Because you got to ask yourself, he's been traveling to Africa. That means you got to use cash to exchange the rates. He's been traveling all around the world. You got to use dollars to exchange the rates. That means you got to get cash. The day that he told us that his money's been breached, okay, he has a rent-a-car. That's all we ever see him in, is a rent-a-car. You never see him in a professional office. You never see him in his own apartment. You never see him looking professional. You never see any hard hats there to build that buildings into schools. You never see Umar Johnson in any professional way. He told you that he needed you to give him money to keep the internet on and to keep the power on in those buildings, those abandoned buildings. No, he only has power running in a small portion of it. As far as internet, I've never seen Umar with a computer working at those schools, with an office using internet. What is he talking about? The man is completely crazy and you can't trust him. Woo, fly. Let me let y'all hear this portion of this vlog. I'm showing you, I did some research, and this is what the law says about how banks deal with quote unquote breaches. Umar's a lie. So let me read some things right now. Here is what the law says about your bank account being breached or being frozen or being closed. And this is very clearly, I did the research, and this is where you're going to find the true lies underneath all the BS that Umar Johnson was spitting out on that video that he put out. It says here, reasons for frozen bank accounts. Suspect fraud. They normally suspect that there's fraud. The bank may freeze your account if they detect suspicious activity, potential fraudulent transaction. Now, Umar Johnson repeated over and over again that he asked the bank if there was any fraudulent activity on his part. I find that suspicious. Why would you ask the bank if you know you haven't done anything fraudulent? Why would you ask them if they think it's you when you already are saying that the bank told you that they breached it? It's almost like Umar is letting you know he's guilty, okay? Legal action. A court order or a creditor seeking to collect debit can also lead to a account being frozen. Umar has those trap bandos in Delaware. He's probably not paying his taxes. He's probably commingling these things. So they can freeze your account if they feel that there's something going on, particularly the IRS wants to get money that you owe them. Okay, let's continue on. Unpaid debts. I believe Umar does have unpaid debts. Unpaid debts, especially those resulting in a court judgment, can lead to a bank levy and account being frozen. Remember, Umar is not paying child support. Now, he made a video one time saying that he pays it in a lump sum when he pays it. But I think this could even be related to him not taking care of his responsibility for his children. Okay, possibly. Okay, compliance issues can be a reason. Banks may freeze your account, everybody, for compliance reasons related to regulations. Could those regulations be Umar commingling the 501c3 donated money? Because when you're getting donated money, you got to declare that as non-profit. Is Umar been living off that money? We all want to know, okay? Now, depending on the reason for the freeze, you may need to provide information, pay outstanding debts, maybe he hasn't paid his debts, I'll say it again, or take other steps to resolve the issues. Now, what is the duration of the freeze? Umar told us that the bank didn't give him any definitive information as to how long the freeze would last. It says here that the length of the freeze can vary depending on the reason and how quickly the issue is resolved. Umar told us it would be quite some time because he wants to use this situation to milk more money from the black community, particularly as he preys on black women. He has been doing this for a long time. Let's move on. Bank cancels your account. He said that his account was canceled, his account was frozen. Which is it, Umar? Because right here it says when a bank cancels your account, here are some of the reasons why they would do it. Suspicious fraudulent activity, fraud and illegal activity. If your account shows unusual patterns of large transfers from unknown sources, doesn't Umar get on his damn phone screaming and yelling about hit the PayPal, send me this, send me that, send me that. So unusual fluctuations and patterns, large transactions from unknown sources and other red flags, the bank may freeze and close it as a precaution to protect you as the person that owns the bank account, okay? Next one, negative balance, overdraft, consistently having a negative balance, okay, occurring frequently. Overdraft fees can lead to account closures. Everybody, could Umar Johnson just be a poor manager of his own money? Because you see how he's not managing the abandoned buildings in Delaware, violating
manipulation tactics. I'm so sick of it. I am so sick of him using the black struggle, okay, to profit off our pain and struggle. I'm so fucking sick of it. I am so sick of you guys not asking Dr. Umar the necessary questions that you need to ask Dr. Umar. Because he's supposed to be a stand-up black man and he's supposed to be a father. Do you really think that it's coincidental that he don't ever talk about his children? We don't never see examples from Dr. Umar of how to be a decent father. He just doing all this talking to y'all and y'all going along with it because he's an excellent speaker to where he can grasp the attention of an entire crowd. Okay, because he tells black folks what they want to hear, because he profits off our struggle and pain, especially pondering to black women. He knows